most are priced to sell for much lower than the listed price just months ago. But before we jump into that, some common mistakes you need to try to avoid. Getting homeschooled by my man, Clyde Anderson.
Yes, sir.
Good to have you back with us.
Good to be here.
And again, remind folks, the reason so many people think foreclosed homes are attractive, you can get a good deal.
Get a good deal. It's a discount. You know, you want to buy something on sale, so why not buy a home on
How
sale?
big are the discounts are we talking about here?
I mean, they're huge discounts in a lot of cases. And what I say is that you really shouldn't do anything if it's less than 20%. You know, you want to have at least a 20% discount in there when you look at the comparables in the neighborhood. If you're really looking to get a deal, that's where you should be.
All right, let's go to these do's and don'ts. You kind of gave me one there. What do you want to start with here? You want to go with the do's?
Yeah, let's go with the do's. Let's take a look at the do's and just kind of see exactly. I mean, I think the first thing is that you really got to look at its opportunity. You know, the opportunity cost, the time that it takes. You know, it takes a lot of time to look for a foreclosure, first of all. So you got to be, you know, really prepared, have a plan, and know what you're looking for. So that's key. Right. But you also got to don't overdo the repairs. You know, a lot of the foreclosed properties need repairs. And you don't want to go in there and overdo it. You don't want to go in there and and do the kitchen. And everything's not dollar for dollar all the time. And so you got to understand that if you put $10,000 in it, doesn't mean it's going to take the value up $10,000. So you got to be careful about what you're doing on the repair side.
Is there a lot of competition out there as well? You said you got to do a lot of research. It takes a lot of time. But are people out there competing essentially for these homes?
Definitely.
As well?
Investors are competing all the time for these properties because it's a good deal. A lot of them have made their business on buying these properties. And right now it's not so much of selling them. In the past it was buying and selling. Right now they're a lot of buying and holding or buying and renting. And so everybody wants to have the best house.
What are these red flags? What do we just absolutely have to avoid if you are trying to go after one of these things?
Well, I think there's several things that you got to avoid. You know, if you're going in and looking at one of these properties, you got to look at everything. And so one of the things I think you need to avoid is don't go into a slow-moving neighborhood. So if you go into a neighborhood that's not selling, you know, you can look at the last 6 months to 12 months. If houses haven't sold in 12 months or 24 months, it may be a red flag. You know, something to consider. Yeah, the market's down right now, but properties are still selling, especially foreclosed properties. So if you see no activity in the neighborhood in that period of time, that could be a red flag.
What kind of negotiating power do you have? These are things that are already so severely cut. I mean, what kind of negotiating power do you really have?
Well, it's interesting. A lot of banks don't really give you any negotiating room. A lot of times it's as is. This is what it is. This is the price. Sometimes you can get them to throw in some extra money for some repairs or if they need some work on the property. But you really got to hold to your guns. Stick to them and go in there and say, this is what we want. This is what we'll pay.
What kind of shape, for the most part, are foreclosed homes in? I guess it's such a stigma. When you hear foreclosed, you think a bad house for some reason. But what kind of shape are a lot of these foreclosed homes?
A lot of them are in perfectly good shape. And I tell people, be prepared to go in there and do some repairs, but it doesn't mean you'll have to. You just want to go in there and have your expectations that it's probably going to be some stuff I need to do. And then you'll be pleasantly surprised if there's nothing that you have to do. But you got to be prepared for it. Have that in the budget. Know that you're going in here to buy this property. Have room in there or have some reserves to go ahead and do what you need to do. But a lot of foreclosures out there right now are in beautiful shape.
Last thing here, you and I have talked about this plenty over the years, actually, how it kind of fluctuates. So many foreclosed homes on the market versus not. Where are we right now in the market? Are there still a lot of foreclosed homes, or we're starting to see that inventory go down at all?
It's still a plethora.
Really?
Still a plethora of foreclosed properties out there. You know, there are a lot of programs and things to kind of reduce that inventory, but that's still the largest amount of inventory that we've got out there in the housing market. I mean, it is shrinking a little bit, but it's going to take some time. You know, we're going through that climb up, and it's going to take time before it turns around.
Clyde, appreciate you as always. Good information this morning.
My pleasure being here.
We appreciate you. Thanks so much.